Hello students, this video content is the second part of the chapter Socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. In this part, we will discuss about the Russian Empire in 1914, economy and society of the Russia before revolution, spread of socialism in Russia, 1905 revolution, that is also known as incident of Bloody Sunday, and finally impact of the First World War on Russia. The fall of monarchy in February 1917 and the events of October are normally called the Russian Revolution. The Russian Revolution, popularly known as the Bolshevik Revolution, was a significant event not only of Russian history but of the history of the whole world. It was the first successful socialist revolution which changed the very course of the world history for many decades. Now, the Russian Empire in 1914. In 1914, Tsar Nicholas II ruled Russia. One thing you must keep in mind that Tsar was the title used by the Russian ruler, just like Samrat, Emperor, Basha, etc. So in 1914, Tsar Nicholas II ruled Russia and its empire. Besides the territory around Moscow, the Russian Empire included Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, parts of Poland, Ukraine, and Belarus. It stretched to the Pacific and comprised today's Central Asian states as well as Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. The religion of the majority was Russian Orthodox Christianity, but the empire also included Catholics, Protestants, Muslims, and Buddhists. Now, major factors responsible for the Russian Revolution. Backwardness of industry and agriculture was the main factor responsible for the Russian Revolution. At the beginning of the 20th century, the vast majority of Russia's people were agriculturists. About 85% of the Russians were earning their living from agriculture. This ratio was higher than in most European countries. In the empire, cultivators produced for the market as well as for their own needs. Russia was a major exporter of grain. Industry was found in pockets. Prominent industrial areas were St. Petersburg and Moscow. Craftsmen undertook much of the production, but large factories existed alongside craft workshops. Many factories were set up in the 1890s when Russia's railway network was extended and foreign investment in industry increased. Coal production doubled and iron and steel output quadrupled. By the 90s, in some areas, factory workers and craftsmen were almost equal in number. Progress of industrialization began very late in Russia. Now, miserable condition of workers, page 31. As there was shortage of capital in the country, more than half for the capital investment was made by the foreign investors. Obviously, foreign investors were interested only in making huge and quick profits without having any concern for the miserable condition of the workers. The Russian capitalists too proved to be a source of exploitation for the workers. The workers had to work from 12 to 15 hours a day, but wages paid to them were very less. Children and women were preferred as workers as they could be underpaid. Women made up about 31% of the factory labor force, but they paid very less compared to the men. Workers were divided into social groups. Some had strong links with the villages from which they came. Others had settled in cities permanently. Workers were divided by skill. A metal worker were regarded superior among other workers. Divisions among workers showed themselves in dress and manners too. Some workers formed associations to help members in times of unemployment or financial hardship, but such associations were few. Despite divisions, workers did unite to strike when they disagreed with employers about dismissals or work conditions. These strikes took place frequently in the textile industry during 1896-1897 and in the metal industry during 1902. Relationship between peasants and nobles, page 31-32. Peasants cultivated most of the land, but the nobility, the crown, and the Orthodox Church owned large properties. The peasants had no respect for them. Nobles got their power and position through their services to the Tsar, not through local popularity. Peasants wanted the land of the nobles to be given to them. Frequently, they refused to pay rent and even murdered landlords. And in 1902, this occurred on a large scale in South Russia. Russian peasants pooled their land together periodically, and their commune, that is known as Mir, divided it according to the needs of individual families. Socialism in Russia, page 32. All political parties were illegal in Russia before 1942. But still, two parties played an important role and organized activities that led to the revolution. Number one, the Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party, and number two, Socialist Revolutionary Party. First, the Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party. It was founded in 1898 by socialists who respected Karl Marx's ideas. However, it operated as an illegal organization because in Russia all political parties were illegal. It set up a newspaper, mobilized workers and organized strikes. And Vladimir Lenin was an important leader of this party. The party felt that peasants were not one united group. Why the party felt that peasants were not one united group? Because some peasants were poor and others were rich. Some worked as laborers while others were capitalists. So, because of these differentiations, they could not be a part of the socialist movement. Later on, the party was divided over the strategy of organization in two sections: A. The Bolshevik group, B. The Menshevik group. The Bolshevik group, who was led by Vladimir Lenin, thought that in a repressive society like Tsarist Russia, the party should be disciplined and should control the number and quality of its members, while the Mensheviks thought that the party should be open to all. Some important difference between the Mensheviks and Bolsheviks. Mensheviks. The Mensheviks were in minority, while the Bolsheviks were in majority. The Mensheviks wanted to establish socialism through the spread of education and reforms among the workers, while the Bolsheviks wanted to spread socialism through revolution. Alexander Kerensky was the leader of the Menshevik group. Kerensky became the prime minister of the Russia after the February Revolution of 1917, while Lenin was the leader of the Bolsheviks, and he became the head of the Russia after the October Revolution of 1917. Now, some relevant point related the second party, that was Socialist Revolutionary Party. The Socialists formed the Socialist Revolutionary Party in 1900. They struggled for peasants' rights and demanded land from nobles to be transferred to peasants. The party believed that the Russian peasant custom of dividing land periodically made them natural socialists, so they should be the main force of revolution. Now, a turbulent time, the 1905 revolution, page 32 and 33. Russia was an autocracy. Unlike other European rulers, even at the beginning of the 20th century, the Tsar was not subject to parliament. It means he was not accountable to the parliament. And the parliament name of the Russia was Duma. Liberals in Russia campaigned to end this state of affairs. Together with the Social Democrats and Socialist Revolutionaries, they worked with peasants and workers during the revolution of 1905 to demand a constitution. They were supported in the empire by nationalists and in Muslim dominated areas by Jadidists who wanted modernized Islam to lead their societies. Jadidists means Muslim reformers within the Russian Empire. The year 1904 was a particularly bad one for Russian workers. Prices of essential goods increased so quickly in 1904 that the real wages declined by 20%. Real wages means it reflects the quantities of goods which the wages will actually buy. Due to dismissal of 4 members of the Assembly of Russian Workers at Putilov Iron Works, a call was made for industrial action. About 1,10,000 workers went on a strike in St. Petersburg. They demanded reduction of a working day to 8 hours and increase in wages. They also demanded that improvement in working conditions. A rally was organized and the procession of workers led by Father Gepan reached the Winter Palace. But they were attacked by the police and the Cossacks. Over 100 workers were killed and about 300 wounded. Because that day was a Sunday, it came to be known as Bloody Sunday, and it triggered many events in the Russia. Bloody Sunday incident is also relate with the incident of India, that is Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Same as the innocent workers were killed by the police in Russia, in the same way in India in the Jallianwala Bagh many Indians were massacred. The strikes began, universities closed down, and students staged walkouts. Lawyers, doctors, engineers, and other middle class workers established the Union of Unions and demanded a constituent assembly. Social democrats and socialist revolutionaries worked with peasants and workers during the revolution of 1905 to demand a constitution. They were supported by nationalists and in Muslim dominated areas by Jihadists. Because of the 1905 revolution, the Tsar allowed the creation of Duma, Parliament of Russia, an elected consultative parliament. Unions and committees were declared illegal and severe restrictions were imposed on their political activity. But the Tsar dismissed the first Duma within 75 days and re-elected the second Duma within 3 months. Actually, Tsar did not want any questioning on his authority or any reduction in his power. He changed the voting laws and packed the third Duma with conservatives. Liberals and revolutionaries were kept out. The First World War and the Russian Empire, page 33 and 34. In 1914, First World War broke out between the Central Powers, viz. Germany, Australia and Turkey, and the Allied powers that were France, Britain and Russia. Later Italy and Romania were also included. The war was fought in Europe as well as outside Europe. Initially, in starting, the war was popular in Russia and people rallied around the Tsar Nicholas II. As the war continued, the support of the people dwindled because the Tsar refused to consult the main parties in Duma. Tsar Nicholas II was married to Alexandra, who was a German. And in Russia, title of the king was Tsar and the wife of Tsar used the title Tsarina. So Tsar Nicholas II was married to Tsarina Alexandra, who was a German origin. As the hatred for Germany grew, Tsarina Alexandra was also eyed with suspicion. And Nicholas II was surrounded by poor advisors, and notable one was a monk called Rasputin, and this made the autocracy unpopular. As this is said that Rasputin was very close to the wife of Tsar Nicholas II, Alexandra. Impact of First World War on the Russian economy. Page 34. As you know, the defeats were shocking and demoralizing. Russian armies lost badly in Germany and Austria between 1914 and 1916. There were over 7 million casualties by 1917. The Russian armies destroyed crops and buildings to prevent the enemy from being able to live off the land. This led to over 3 million refugees in Russia. The soldiers did not wish to fight such a war. Industries owned by Russians were few, and the country was cut off from the supplies. Industrial equipment disintegrated more rapidly in Russia. Railway lines began to break down by 1916. Able-bodied men were called to the war. Able-bodied means young. Men were called to the war, and this led to labor shortage in the country. The small workshops were shut down. Large supplies of grain were sent to feed the armies, and bread and flour became scarce in cities because mostly grains were supplies for the armies. By the winter of 1916, riots at bread shops were common in Russia.